My name's Madelyn Carter, and at 29, I thought I had it all figured out. I was running a thriving digital marketing company in the heart of Portland, pouring my heart and soul into it. I spent over $280,000 to feed my family for 6 years. But when my apartment burned down, I lost everything and had nowhere to go. When I showed up at my parents' door with only a backpack full of belongings, my own mother laughed at me and said, "This is not a shelter." That's when I decided to cut it all off. Before I tell you what happened after I cut every penny, let me know where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you want more stories about setting boundaries with toxic family members. I grew up in what seemed like your typical American family. Mom, dad, me, and my two younger siblings, Tyler and Grace, in a cozy little Portland neighborhood. From the outside, we were all smiles. But inside, money was a storm that never stopped raging. Not because we were dirt poor, but because nobody in that house had a clue how to handle it. My father, Ray, never kept a job for more than a year. He always blames his boss, the weather, traffic, and never once looking inward. Yet somehow, he never missed a sports bet on his phone. My mother, Denise, was addicted to shopping. She had a wallet full of credit cards. Her closet was packed with clothes that still had tags on them, while I had to scrape together coins just to buy my school books. By 16, I was working part-time at a grocery store and tutoring math in the evenings, just to afford a phone, clothes, and everything else I needed. I kept my grades high, won a scholarship, and graduated college debt-free. After graduation, I got a job at a mid-sized marketing company, but I had bigger dreams. I started freelancing on the side and built up my own client list. By the age of 24, I quit to open my own agency. And it took off fast. I had a nice apartment, stable savings, and for the first time, I was truly proud of myself. It was little things at first. Mom texted that Dad lost another job and the electric bill was past due. I sent $300 without blinking. A month later, Dad's car died. $1,200 gone. Then Tyler, my little brother, came with his big smoothie truck idea. I handed over $18,000 only to watch that truck rot in a parking lot. When Grace got engaged, Mom called, voice thick with guilt. "She deserves a dream wedding, Madelyn." "Just $30,000. That's normal now." I didn't push back. I paid. I told myself, this is what family does. I can help, so I should. I thought love meant saying yes. Always. That first year, I sent them $8,000. By year 2, I was covering their mortgage. Year 3, I was paying electric, car insurance, Mom's credit cards. Yes, plural. Tyler's startups kept crashing. Grace decided her sedan wasn't safe and needed an SUV. I covered that too. Bit by bit, I lost myself. I stopped seeing friends. I shelved my dream of buying a home because I was too busy paying for theirs. I worked until I was numb, always thinking, just a little more help and they'll get it together. Just a little longer. I was wrong. And the night my apartment caught fire was the night I realized just how wrong I'd been. The fire alarm went off at 2 a.m., and I woke up in a haze of smoke thick as fog. At first, I thought it was my phone alarm going off by mistake. But no, this sound was sharper, more urgent. The air was thick with smoke, so heavy I could barely breathe, each inhale burning my lungs like I was swallowing fire itself. I stumbled out of bed, barefoot, fumbling for the light switch. But nothing happened. Just darkness and that acrid, choking smell clawing at my throat. When I cracked open my bedroom door, a wall of black smoke hit me like a punch, forcing me back, coughing until my eyes watered. I loved that apartment, you know. It was my sanctuary. A cozy attic in a quirky Victorian house on Portland's east side. Those creaky wooden floors that groaned with every step, the arched skylights that spilled soft morning light across my living room. That space doubled as my office, where I poured my heart into marketing campaigns, brainstormed big ideas, and built my business from nothing. Every corner held a piece of me. My laptop, my camera, my streaming lights, the external hard drive with every client file, and that one photo of me and Carly laughing on the Oregon coast. It was my life, my home, my everything. and it was burning. I dropped to my knees, crawling low like I vaguely remembered from some middle school fire drill. My mind raced. Client data, contracts, that photo. Everything I'd worked for was in there. Instinct kicked in. I scrambled to my desk, grabbed my canvas tote, the one I'd always kept ready just in case. Passport, birth certificate, bank info, portable hard drive. I shoved my phone and a power bank in there, snatched my coat, and bolted for the fire escape. No time to lock the door, and no time to think. I climbed out into the freezing night, the metal of the fire escape biting my bare feet. The heat from the floors below chased me, scorching my skin like I'd crawled out of hell itself. Down on the lawn, my neighbors stood in their pajamas, some filming with their phones like it was a spectacle. Sirens wailed, fire trucks roared in, hoses blasting water into the blaze. I stood there, trembling, my bag slung over my shoulder, smoke clinging to my hair, my coat, and my soul. A firefighter climbed up, his hand steady as he guided me down the last rung of the ladder. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice calm but urgent. I shook my head, coughing, my body shaking from the cold, the shock and the weight of it all. I didn't know whether to cry or just be grateful I was still breathing. There I was, sitting on a cold curb under a street lamp's harsh glow, wrapped in one of those crinkly silver emergency blankets a firefighter tossed my way. I don't remember how long I'd been sitting there. An hour, maybe 3. My eyes were fixed on the charred wreckage in front of me, the place I had called home. Now it was all gone. Just blackened beams, shattered bricks, and thick smoke still rising from the ruins. Nothing left. I picked up my phone and called the insurance company, hands trembling. A middle-aged woman answered. Her tone carried the numbness of someone far too familiar with other people's disasters. She pulled my file and laid it out flat. "Your renter's policy only covers basics, and since the landlord's policy lapsed 3 months ago, the damages inside your unit aren't reimbursable." I blinked, not getting it. "So, I get nothing?" I asked, my voice small. "You can file for minimal personal property loss," she said, "but it's not much. And it'll take weeks, maybe months if paperwork's missing." My throat closed up. Months? I couldn't even ask. I just hung up. Soot coated my face, my hair plastered to my forehead, still in my ratty cotton tee and pajama pants. My bare feet were red, swollen from the cold and ash. And then the tears came. Not a big, dramatic sob, but a quiet leak, like a pipe you didn't know was broken until the floor was soaked. Shock, disbelief, and this hollow ache I didn't have a name for. I had no home, no laptop, no camera, no streaming lights, no clothes, no shoes, and nothing. I opened my phone and started scrolling for cheap hotels like a robot. I settled on one 5 blocks away for $179. Small, musty, with a squeaky bed, but it was clean, had hot water, and, most importantly, a lock. I checked my bank account. $3,147. 5 nights would eat half of it. Then I'd need clothes, toiletries, food. I had to call clients, pause contracts, explain without sounding like a mess. Too many needs, and I was running on empty. I couldn't open my laptop, because, oh right, I didn't have one. So, from my phone, I messaged my biggest clients saying a personal emergency needed a few days to sort out. They were kind, sent well wishes, but I could feel the unspoken hesitation. In my world, delays are a death sentence. And I'd just lost my workspace, my tools, my whole rhythm. I couldn't tell Carly I was in a hotel. She asked, and I said, "I'm okay for now. Don't worry." I didn't want to become a burden. Even though deep down I knew, if I fell apart completely, Carly would show up in a heartbeat. But I'd spent my whole life being the fixer, the strong one, the one who carried everyone else. Asking for help? That felt like a language I didn't speak. That night, I lay on a hotel bed, staring at a mold-stained ceiling, mentally calculating every debt I had ever paid. The mortgage payments stretching back years. The thousands sunk into Tyler's doomed startups, Grace's lavish wedding, Mom's car repairs, and Dad's dental bills. The camera I didn't buy myself, the trip with Carly I canceled. All so I could keep them afloat. Every time I'd said, "It's okay. I've got this." Mom's words haunted me. Family helps each other. But no one ever asked, "Madelyn, are you okay? Do you have enough?" Now, with my life in ruins, I had nowhere to go. Then I remembered I still had a family. My parents lived just 40 minutes away. A quiet suburban home with a neat lawn, lavender bushes my mom planted, and a rocking chair I'd gifted Dad when he was between jobs last year. That house still stood, warm, safe, unbothered by the chaos I had just escaped. And more than anything, it was a house I had been paying the mortgage on for the past 4 years. I didn't want to beg. I just needed a place to stay. For a few weeks. A spare room, a couch. I'd clean up after myself, cook my own meals. All I needed was a roof to rebuild under. I called Mom first. She picked up after 2 rings. I told her everything. The fire, the loss, the hotel, my finances. Her voice sounded surprised at first, but quickly settled into a detached calm, like I was telling her about a stranger's story. "Oh, that's terrible, honey. I'm really sorry to hear that," she said. I waited for more, waited for her to say, "Come home, sweetheart." But she didn't. So I asked, "Would it be all right if I stopped by tonight? Just to talk things through?" "Well, if you want. Your father and I are home," she replied. I borrowed Carly's car and drove at dusk, past streets I'd biked as a kid, the cafe where I worked summers. I pulled up with my backpack, my whole life inside. The lawn was perfect, Dad's pickup, my money, gleamed. Mom opened the door, her eyes skimming me. "Madelyn, you look tired." I nodded. "Yeah." The house smelled like cinnamon bread, warm and whole. Past the flat screen I'd bought Dad, he sat on the couch, beer in hand, eyes on football. "Hey, kid," he said. "Heard about the fire. Sucks." No look, no hug. I sat, gripping my backpack. Mom sipped wine. No one asked if I was hungry, where I was staying. I took a breath. I was hoping I could stay here. Just a few weeks till I get a place and replace my work stuff. I won't be a burden. I have nowhere else. Silence. Mom set her glass down. "Madelyn, now's not a good time. The spare room's storage and your father's irritable. Someone else here might unsettle him." I stared. "I'm not someone else." She looked away. "We're used to our peace." I tried again. "The couch? My old room? I just need to charge my phone." She shook her head. "It's not that we don't care. Your dad doesn't like disruptions." The house had 4 bedrooms, storage, Grace's shrine, Tyler's crash pad. But for me, who'd paid for it all? Nothing. "I've paid the mortgage for 4 years," I said, voice breaking. "The electric, the garden, the plumbing, everything." Mom's lips pursed. Family doesn't keep score. Dad didn't move. "So, I can't stay." Mom shrugged. "You have friends, right? Carly's there." I stood, chest heavy. Tyler walked in, AirPods in, pizza box swinging. "Oh, hey," he grinned. Mom said, "She wants to stay, but it's not a good time." Tyler laughed. "Where? Not my room. Got my new gaming rig." I snapped. "You don't even live here." He shrugged. "I come home." I grabbed my backpack and walked out. No one stopped me. At the door, Mom said, "Madelyn, you're still sending the mortgage payment, right? Property tax is due." I turned, seeing a stranger. "No," I said. "Nothing from now on." Rain soaked me as I stepped out, cold drops hitting my hair, my jacket. I climbed into the car, hands shaking, and drove away. I didn't look back. I'd lost my family. Or maybe they were never mine. I left my parents' house in the pouring rain. My thin t-shirt clung to my skin, soaked and cold, and my hands stayed frozen on the steering wheel even though the engine hadn't started yet. The windshield fogged up, blurring the warm glow of my parents' house. A house that had just shut me out like I was nobody. I'd imagined plenty of failures. Losing a contract, a business deal imploding, even going broke. But never this. Standing on the doorstep of the home I'd paid for, month after month for 4 years, only to hear Mom's calm, cutting words. "This isn't a shelter, honey." They didn't see me as family. I was the one who paid the $1,700 mortgage, fixed the furnace, funded Grace's wedding, co-signed Tyler's car loan, renovated their kitchen, bought their dishwasher, installed their AC. I was their ATM. Always there. Always giving. My forehead hit the steering wheel, the cold sinking into me. No tears, just a hollow ache, like my insides had been scooped out, leaving a shell soaked by the rain. I didn't go back to the hotel. I didn't call Carly. I drove, numb, until I pulled into a 24-hour Walmart lot. I reclined the seat, draped my coat over myself, the cold from the seat stiffening my back. I opened my notes app, needing something to keep me present. I typed, house mortgage, $1,700 per month times 48 months equals $81,600 utility bills. $250 per month times 72 months equals Dad's truck. $18,400. Mom's credit cards. $19,270 Grace's wedding. $35,000. Deposits dress. Honeymoon, $12,000. Tyler's failed ventures. $22,000 Tyler's rent. 10 months. $9,000. Grace's car insurance. $4,500. Dad's medical dental hospital bills. $21,400. Miscellaneous. $7,000 plus total. Over $268,000. The number stared back. Proof I wasn't imagining it. I'd given everything. And they couldn't give me a corner. In that freezing car, in an empty lot under a black sky, I decided. No more money. No more rescuing people who didn't see me. Tomorrow, I'd cut them off. The next morning, I woke with a sore back and stiff neck, curled up in the driver's seat of Carly's car. The sky was gray, no rain but no sunlight, mirroring the emptiness inside me. I drove to a 24-hour diner, its neon open sign flickering faintly. I took a booth by the window, alone. The waitress, Shelley, her blonde hair tinged with silver, handed me a menu. "What can I get you, hun?" she asked. "Coffee toast," I said. She smiled. "Hang in there, sweetheart. You look like you've been through something." Her words cracked me open, and as she walked away, quiet tears fell. I wiped them off and got to work. I called the bank, asking Kristen to close my old account and open a new one, cutting off every auto payment. Mom and Dad's mortgage, utilities, insurance, Mom's credit cards. "My family's been using me for 6 years," I told her. "I need a clean start." "You're not the first," she said softly. In 45 minutes, I had new everything. The old account would close in 24 hours. I requested a 6-year transaction report. I called the mortgage company. "I've paid for 4 years, but I'm not on the deed. I'm stopping today." "No obligation," they said. I canceled utilities, removed my card from Dad's truck loan, and cut off Mom's credit card payments. Every step was documented. Emails, screenshots, proof. On a secondhand Craigslist laptop, I wrote, Subject, ending financial support. 2. Ray, Denise, Tyler, Grace. Starting today, I will no longer provide financial support. I've paid over $268,000 for your mortgage, utilities, vehicles, wedding, medical bills, and more over 6 years. When I lost everything, you offered nothing but silence and rejection. This isn't about getting anything back. It's about ending this. No more money. My account is closed. Payments are canceled. Don't contact me about money. This is final. Madelyn. I rewrote it, hesitated, then hit send. Relief washed over me, not joy, but freedom from a weight I'd carried too long. I flipped my phone face down on the diner table, set it to silent, and waited. Within 30 minutes, 9 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Tyler, Grace. But I didn't pick up. Texts flooded in. Mom, what are you doing? Why so sudden? The mortgage is due soon. Dad, Madelyn, don't stress your mother out. What's going on? Tyler, are you freaking kidding me? Where's my rent money? Grace, are you still upset? You can't just cut us off. An hour later, they turned sharper. Mom, I've always been there for you. This is how you repay me? Dad, your mother's crying. Are you proud? Tyler, I got kicked out. You want me homeless? Grace, you want me to lose my car? I can't pay insurance. I read every word, feeling nothing but cold. No one asked where I was sleeping, if I'd eaten, if I needed help. Just, where's my money? But I was done. Not angry, just exhausted and tired of being the grown-up since 16, of fixing their messes while being told I couldn't be tired, of never hearing, "Are you okay?" On my Craigslist laptop, I built a spreadsheet, cold and precise. Every dollar from 6 years pulled from bank statements, emails, apps. No feelings, just facts. To Mom, Denise. Utility bills, $12,480. Credit card payments, $19,270. Personal shopping, PayPal and Amazon, $11,000. Mortgage payments, $81,600. Total, $124,350. To Dad. Ray. Medical expenses, $21,400. Car insurance, $6,800. New truck, co-signed, $18,400. Unexplained cash expenses, $16,200. Total, $62,800. To brother, Tyler. Juice bar, startup investment, $22,000. Rent, 10 months, $9,200. New laptop and phone, $5,800. Online courses and exam retakes, $7,000. Uber and food bills, $4,000. Total, $47,000. To sister, Grace. Wedding package, $35,000. Honeymoon, $6,200. Car deposit, plus insurance, $9,500. Pre-wedding shopping, $3,500. Total, $54,200 I emailed each. Subject, financial support summary, for your records. One line at the end. I don't expect anything back. I just want you to remember what I did for this family. Auto replies went up. I'm recovering after a house fire. All financial support has ended permanently. Please don't message further. Thank you. I blocked their numbers for silence, not spite. No thrill, no victory, just peace. And in the quiet of my tiny motel room, I finally slept. I thought that once I sent the financial records, blocked their numbers, and set my auto reply, everything would go quiet. Yeah, I was dead wrong. The next morning, I powered my phone back on for like 2 seconds, and oh my gosh, the screen just exploded. It was almost unreal. 52 missed calls, 23 from Mom, 12 from my brother, Tyler, 9 from my sister, Grace, 8 from Dad. I didn't freak out. I wasn't scared. Just a strange, distant recognition. Like watching an old version of myself. The girl who would drop everything at the first ring. The girl who thought it was her duty to fix the family, no matter the cost. But that version of Madelyn had burned down with the apartment. I opened my voicemail, half curious, half dreading it. First up was Mom. Her voice was all sharp edges, that tightly wound anger she's so good at. Madelyn, what are you doing? You can't just ghost us like this. Your dad and I have our own stuff to deal with, but we need time. You're not going to let the house go into foreclosure, are you? Then Dad, flat and icy as ever. Your mom's been crying all morning. You proud of yourself? After everything we've done for you, this is how you pay us back? I let out a laugh. Not because it was funny, but because seriously, what else was I gonna do? That same old line, after everything we've done for you. I racked my brain, trying to think of one thing. Sure, they gave me life, but after that? College tuition, textbooks, my CPA exams, my first job, starting my business, every single penny I earned. And then I turned around and handed it over to them. Tyler's message was next, and he was pissed. Yo, I got kicked out of my place. You really want me crashing on the street? How can you be this ungrateful? What's family to you? Just something to ditch once you're successful. Then Grace, doing her whole soft, sweet thing. Sis, I know things got heated the other day, but cutting everyone off? That's intense. I've got a kid now. I need a car to get to work. You can't just... Her voice cracked at the end. I couldn't tell if it was real or if she was playing me. Either way, I didn't get a reply, but I saved every single one of those voicemails. That afternoon, an email from Mom hit my inbox. Subject line: "We need to talk." It started all gentle, like she was trying to hug me through the screen. I stopped right there. That phrase, "if you felt rejected." Like my hurt was just me misreading the room. Like it was my feelings causing the problem, not her turning her back when I needed her most. No, I'm sorry, I messed up. No, you've been carrying way too much for us. Not even a simple, hey, you okay? I skimmed that email. I felt like I was staring at some warped mirror version of my life. I didn't finish reading it, but I caught the end. She was all, "We need to revisit the mortgage. If you don't cover this month's payment, there will be consequences. We don't let the family suffer over emotional misunderstandings." Emotional misunderstandings. I just sat there, staring at those words. They didn't get it, or they wouldn't get it. Or maybe the worst part, they never cared enough to even try. To them, I'd always been the one who swooped in and fixed everything. The bank, the one who paid up, the good daughter who never asked for a dang thing, who just kept giving, even when it left her with nothing. But I was done. I pulled up my records folder, triple-checked every document I'd sent them, and for the first time in my entire life, I hit mark as completed. One job done and one chapter slammed shut. I thought they'd stop after a few days, but I was wrong. 3 days after Mom's "we need to talk" email, my phone started ringing again. Only this time, the calls came from unknown numbers. I didn't answer, but they left voicemails. "Madelyn, it's your father. You won't respond to your mother, won't answer me, so what now? Are you just cutting ties with this family altogether? Do you even care that your mother hasn't slept in 3 nights?" Then Mom, her voice tight like she was barely holding it together. "Madelyn, Tyler's a wreck. He says you're planning to sue him? This is too much. I don't even know who you are anymore." I didn't respond. And no, I wasn't suing anyone. But I guess me setting boundaries, saying I need my own space, my own life. That's what they're calling betrayal now. Then Tyler's message came through. All attitude. "I'm pulling night shifts at some sketchy convenience store, Madelyn. If you could just send this month's rent, maybe my landlord won't kick me out. Unless you want to be the sister who bails on her own blood, you might want to rethink this." That line hit me harder than I thought it would. The sister who abandoned her own blood. Back then, just hearing those words would crack me. I'd come running back. I'd apologize and I'd say, "Just this one last time." But not now. Not after I spent nights curled up in my car, shivering, while the house I was paying the mortgage for was all cozy, glowing with lights, vases stuffed with fresh flowers. Not after I'd dodged my best friend because I was too ashamed to admit I was broke, while Mom was still swiping her card for fancy perfume and late-night Amazon sprees like it was nothing. I watched my phone buzz on the kitchen table over and over. And for the first time, no guilt, no panic. It was like the fog finally cleared and I saw it for what it was. The ugly, naked truth of what I used to call family. There wasn't love there, just a transaction, a one-way road, A never-ending pit of demands that I'd keep paying, keep showing up, keep pouring out my savings, my time, my so-called gratitude for stuff they never even gave me. That night, I got an email from Grace. But this time, the soft tone was gone. "What you're doing is cruel, Madelyn. I'm pregnant. I need a car to get to my prenatal appointments. You promised you'd always be there for me. And now when I actually need you, you've turned your back. I'll never forget this. Ever." I kept rereading that last bit. I'll never forget this. It stung, I won't lie. Grace was the tiny girl I used to scoop up when I was barely 5, shielding her from mom and dad's screaming matches, the one I held tight through her first heartbreak, wiping her tears. And now, she was practically swearing to hate me forever. I didn't write back. Instead, I grabbed my phone and typed one line in my notes app. They don't love me. They love what I do for them when it suits them. The next day, my friend Carly, the only one I still talk to, asked me over for dinner. I showed up with a $10 bottle of wine from the corner store, feeling a little awkward. She pulled me into this big, warm hug like she knew I needed it. "You're looking a bit better," she said, plopping a bowl of salad on the table. I just nodded and didn't feel like talking much. After dinner, we parked ourselves on her balcony. She gave me this quiet look and asked, "You sure you don't want to try talking to your mom again?" I stared up at the gray sky, the city rooftops all blurry in the dusk. The wind was soft, rustling through the trees below. "There's nothing left to say," I whispered. "What if they change?" she asked. I gave a small smile. If they were going to change, they wouldn't have left me sleeping in my car after I lost everything. Carly squeezed my hand. She didn't push, just sat there with me, quiet. And in that moment, I felt something new. Something I hadn't in all my 29 years. Someone being there, just there, without wanting a piece of me. No asking for cash, no guilting me into being grateful, no preaching about forgiveness, no turning our friendship into some kind of checklist. She was just present, sitting next to me. In a silence I didn't have to justify or pay for. It was enough. 2 weeks after I sent those final emails, my inbox started lighting up again. Not with guilt or threats this time. No, it was different. It's bank alerts and random updates from old neighbors. My family was falling apart first, the mortgage. Mom and Dad missed their payment. The bank sent an early warning notice, and since my name was still in their system from when I was covering it, I got the email. I hit ignore, dragged it into a new folder, old business. Then Tyler texted from some random number. I got kicked out of my place, couch surfing at a buddy's, but he's getting married soon and needs me out. I know you're pissed, but if I ever meant anything to you, help me out. One last time. One last time. This was the same guy who, weeks ago, left me a voicemail screaming I was a traitor, an ATM with no balance who forgot her roots. I didn't reply. Then Grace again. Her email was short. No anger this time. Just flat. I had to sell the car. Couldn't keep up with insurance. Ryan's working 2 jobs now. I'm sorry for everything. And then the most unexpected thing happened on a quiet Saturday afternoon. I was working at a small cafe near the library, typing away on the old laptop I had restored with my own hands, when a shadow fell across my table. I looked up. It was my mother. She wore an expensive knit sweater, her hair still perfectly curled, but there was tension in her eyes. The skin around her mouth was tight, like something was pulling every muscle taut beneath it. "Madelyn," she says, her voice sharp. I don't say a word. Just pull my hands off the keyboard and meet her gaze. "I had to come," she goes on. "You're not answering anything. This is too much. Your dad's worn out. Tyler's got nowhere to live, and Grace..." I hold up a hand, cutting her off. "You don't need to list it. I know." Her voice gets louder, almost desperate. "Then how can you just sit there doing nothing?" I take a deep breath, steadying myself. "It's not that I don't care, Mom. It's that I finally realized I'm not the one who has to fix it all. She freezes, like I just slapped her. What kind of daughter says that about her family? I look her dead in the eyes. Family's supposed to be give and take, I say softly. Not one person propping everyone else up, then getting laughed at when they're the one who falls. She opens her mouth, ready to fire back, but then nothing. She shuts it. Maybe, just maybe, she knows I'm not backing down this time. She digs in her bag and pulls out an envelope, sliding it across the table. This is from the bank, and the house is about to go into foreclosure. I nod. And you want me to fix it? She doesn't say it outright, but her silence screams yes. I nudge the envelope back toward her, gentle but firm. I can't. Because of your pride? She snaps, her voice bitter. Because of my survival, I say calm. I grab my bag and stand. Before I walk away, I pause. Mom, I say quietly, I really hope you all figure this out. But if anyone ever asks if my family loved me, I won't know what to tell them. And I leave. Don't look back. A few weeks later, word gets around. Dad's picked up a part-time gig at the hardware store. Mom's sold off some of her jewelry. Tyler's crashing with a coworker from his night shifts. Grace moved into a smaller place and started tracking her budget. They didn't fall apart. They didn't die. They just had to fend for themselves, probably for the first time ever. And me? I did too. But with this, peace. I found a small room, old but quiet, and turned it into the very first home I could truly call mine. Everything in it was chosen by me. No one's telling me what to do. No one's borrowing my credit card. No one's butting in. I rebuilt my website, got a few old clients back, and started working out of this cute local print shop. The owner, Lisa, this super kind lady, lets me use a little desk in her office every morning. Bit by bit, I'm putting things back together. It's not quick, but it's solid. One afternoon, I'm sitting in my little kitchen, hands wrapped around a steaming mug of tea, and it hits me. For the first time in forever, I'm not braced for my phone to buzz. I'm not refreshing my email, dreading some random bank withdrawal. I'm not holding my breath when I check my account. I'm just living. No debts to anyone. No strings pulling me back. No more saying sorry for stuff I never did. Just me, Madelyn, finally living for myself. 1 year after the night I slept in my car with nothing but a backpack to my name, I stood in front of a faded olive green door, holding a fresh set of keys in my hand. And I smiled. The apartment wasn't big. The walls had old stains, the hardwood floors were scratched, and the kitchen faucet sometimes leaked. But it was mine. For the first time ever, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Not because someone let me crash, but because I picked this place. I hung the curtains myself, built a desk from a kit that took way too many hours to figure out, hit up flea markets and thrift stores, picking out furniture I could actually afford. Every single thing in that space, I chose it because it was what I wanted. No more footing the bill for someone else's life. No more waiting for a thank you that was never gonna come. This was the first place I'd ever lived where I didn't owe anybody a dime. I started over from zero, but this time, the weight was gone. Lisa, the print shop owner who'd let me camp out at a corner desk in her office, turned into my first real friend in this new life. She was the one who introduced me to 2 local businesses. That's how I started rebuilding my client list. Slowly, but steady. I worked my butt off, poured every ounce of energy into it, handled campaigns solo, wrote every word of copy, designed every layout. No high-tech gear, no team backing me up. But I had something better. Clarity. Freedom. I also started a blog. Not to vent or anything, but to share my story. The story of a woman who held her family together for 6 years, financially, emotionally, all of it, only to be left in the dust the second she needed help. A woman who lost her home, her business, her role as the good daughter, and had to rebuild with nobody but herself in her corner. To my shock, that post blew up. Women started reaching out. They'd been the fixer in their families too. They'd believed, like I did, that if they stopped carrying everyone, the whole world would collapse. And when they finally couldn't keep it up, they got slapped with the same ungrateful label. Reading their messages, I didn't feel so alone anymore. I wasn't wrong. I just walked away from a fire that was never going to stop burning. I started therapy too, every week. And let me tell you, it changed everything. You didn't start the fire, my therapist, Dr. Laura, said, but you lived in it so long you thought it was normal. The first time I said it out loud, it hit like a ton of bricks. I was financially abused by my own family. Nobody made me say it. Nobody fed me the words. But hearing it from Dr. Laura, someone neutral, made it real. My pain wasn't me overreacting or being too sensitive. I forgave. Not them, me. For staying quiet too long. For not saying no sooner. For thinking love meant giving everything, always, no matter the cost. Then one day, a letter came from Dad. Handwritten on this old, yellowed stationery, his familiar, slanted handwriting. No perfume, no theatrics, no anger. Just a few lines. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know, we see what we did. Your mom hasn't said it out loud, but I've caught her rereading your email. Tyler's working again. Grace isn't asking for help anymore. We're learning to get by without you. And maybe that's best for all of us. I didn't cry, but I kept the letter tucked in my desk drawer, not as some sentimental keepsake, but as a reminder of how far I've come. Work started to feel steady, like I could finally catch my breath. Then, out of nowhere, I got an invite to speak at a women's personal finance workshop. Me, not a financial guru by any stretch, but I was real. Someone who'd been crushed under years of guilt and obligation, and finally said, enough. So there I was, standing on this small stage, telling my story. When I got to the part where I said, I slept in my car because I had nowhere else to go, the room went dead quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. And when I wrapped it up with, fire can burn your stuff to ashes, but sometimes it burns off chains you didn't even know you were carrying. The whole place got to their feet, clapping like I'd just dropped some life-changing TED Talk. I used to live in this dark cloud of blind gratitude, always trying to earn love I'd never get. Now, I'm standing in the sunlight of boundaries and self-respect. I'm not rolling in cash, but I'm free. I'm not some big name, but I'm at peace. And I know this. If I could claw my way out of that mess, I can go anywhere from here. As for my family, they're still out there, doing their thing. Mom and Dad sold the house and moved to a smaller apartment on the edge of the city. No more shiny new cars, no designer labels, no constant begging for handouts. Tyler's working at a call center now. Grace and Ryan settled into a modest two-bedroom in the suburbs. No balcony, but it's warm and they're making it work. I don't wish them any harm. But I'm not going back. Because I've learned forgiveness doesn't have to come with a return ticket. And real love never asks you to set yourself on fire so someone else can stay warm. One evening, I was out on my little apartment's balcony, the soft glow of string lights spilling onto the worn floors. I sipped my tea, staring out at the city skyline, all twinkly in the distance. The hum of cars, the buzz of people, the pulse of life just moving forward. I smile. Light and free. I used to be the responsible one. The girl who couldn't say no. The good daughter who got kicked out of the house she was paying for. Now, I'm the one writing my own story. And I don't need anyone's approval for it. Except my own. I used to believe that if I loved hard enough, endured long enough, sacrificed deeply enough, then people would never turn their backs on me. I used to think that if I gave everything I had, then when I was the one in need, I'd be welcomed back with open arms. I truly believed that family would never close the door on me. But then I stood at their door, ash smeared across my face, hands scratched up from the fire escape, clutching a backpack with everything I owned. And my mom, the woman who brought me into this world, looked me in the eyes and said, "This isn't a shelter." That moment, it broke me open, changed me forever. I'd given them over $280,000, propped up my parents, my brother, my sister, like if I stopped, they'd all fall apart. But the real truth? I was the one collapsing under the weight. I lost everything. And in that loss, I saw myself for the first time, raw, broken, but finally awake. I cut them off, stopped sending money, and stopped answering texts. And the craziest thing? I didn't crumble. Instead, I started living. Slowly, quietly, kindly, to myself. From a tiny desk, I rebuilt my career, landed clients, learned to love myself again, started therapy, figured out how to set boundaries, say no, walk away, things that used to scare me to death. One day it hit me. I didn't need their forgiveness. I just needed to be free from a job I never asked for. If you're hearing this, maybe you've been where I was, hurt by the people you loved most, called ungrateful for stepping back, pushed away when you had nothing left to give. From the bottom of my heart, I see you. And you're not wrong. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to choose yourself. You're allowed to live without the guilt of putting yourself first. You're not selfish. You're not cold. You're just trying to breathe in a house that's run out of air. And if you're standing at that door, hand on the knob, too scared to turn it, I hope my story gives you just enough strength to open it, to step out, and to start over. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. If any of this hit home, don't just slip away. Drop a comment, let me know I'm not alone out here. Hit that like button if you want more raw, real stories. And please subscribe to Hidden Family Revenge Stories and tap the bell. The next video might be the one that gets you through tomorrow. I made it. You will too. We don't need fire to be strong. But sometimes it's only after we've burned to the ground that we figure out who we really are. I never thought I'd drive down that old Portland street again. But one March afternoon, I found myself cruising through my old neighborhood, the house I used to call home, the one Mom put on every Christmas card, the place I sank $268,000 into over 6 years just to keep everyone else afloat. I didn't stop, just slowed down. The roof was faded, the paint peeling, the lawn a mess. No lavender pots on the porch anymore. The front door stayed shut. I let out a breath. Calm. Like I'd flipped a page in an old book and realized I hadn't missed a thing. A year after the fire, I wasn't the woman who carried her whole family's weight, terrified everything would collapse if I faltered. Now, I ran a small studio, helping women-led businesses craft honest brands. 17 active clients, 4 on the wait list, and a part-time assistant, Lydia, who reminded me of a younger me, except she knew how to say no from the start. In May, a handwritten letter arrived from Grace, postmarked from a local community center where she worked, helping single-parent families. Inside, just one page. Dear Madelyn, I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know I understand now. Not right then. Not after those angry texts. But now, after paying off 3 months of insurance debt and scraping together daycare fees, I'm starting to understand the pressure you must have carried. I can't repay you. But if you ever loved me, believe this. I'm trying to be better. And I'm teaching my daughter that love doesn't mean exploitation. I read it and cried, not out of regret or forgiveness, but because someone in my family finally saw the truth. Tyler stayed quiet. An old friend mentioned he'd quit the gas station and started online coding classes. Part of me wanted to ask, "You okay?" But I knew if he needed me, he'd reach out, without a bill in hand. Dad never called, but a package showed up, no return address. Inside, an old photo album. First page, me at 10, grinning in a wildflower field. I flipped through it. The memories didn't sting anymore. They were just moments that once were. One Sunday, over dinner, Carly asked, "If your mom showed up one day just to hug you, would you let her in?" I paused, thinking. If she came without bills, without begging forgiveness, without dragging up the past, just to ask, "How've you been?" maybe I'd open the door. Not because she's my mom, but because she's a person trying to build something real. I started writing a book. not to vent, but to tell the truth. About women like me, who once thought they had to burn themselves out to be seen. I wrote in the mornings before my coffee cooled, in the quiet nights when I could hear my heart healing. I wrote what I wished I'd known. You deserve a kind life, even when your family hasn't been kind to you. By year's end, I spoke at a women's college sharing my story. Raw, no sugarcoating, no fairy tale ending. When I said, no one gets to burden you with their life just because your heart's bigger than your bank account, the auditorium erupted in applause. In that moment, my story, once a wound, became a light. This isn't a fairy tale ending. My family didn't magically reunite. I didn't revert to the dutiful daughter, but I lived, fully, freely, at peace. And if anyone asks, do you regret cutting ties? I'd say, no. Sometimes real love isn't holding on to family. It's walking away to save yourself. And I did.